Okay, let's talk about codependence with God and how codependence can show up in that relationship. First, I want to talk about the confusion and the pain that inherently comes from an existence without being eternally close and connected to God. We might be on a deeper level, but we don't always feel that. Like, ask any human in the world, they don't feel infinitely always connected to God. Another thing I want to talk about is walking the path and how that can bring up a lot of confusion, perfectionism, indecision, all of that, and how we can sometimes lean on God and develop this codependence and lack of sense of self-trust as we learn our relationship with God and what that means for us in the lens of our human existence. And then lastly, I want to talk about the acceptance that comes when we lean into both our humanity, and our life with God, and how God speaks to us through our lives. And the deeper we go into the language that God speaks with us, the closer it brings us to God, to life, all of it. So let's get in. First, I wanted to share the reality of the existence that we're in as human beings. We are in an existence where we are inherently disconnected from God. Even if we're not truly actually disconnected from God, we feel disconnected from God. And that reality is inherently painful for us to cope with. And I think that if you go down a spiritual path, or if you go down a path, even in your life where you're not consciously looking to connect to God, but you're looking to connect with life, like, sometimes I feel that we can get almost addicted to that state of being connected to God, or feeling like high on life. Because that's kind of like what addiction is wanting to like manipulate your state to be in a state where you feel like it's pleasant for you to be in. The reality of trying to get into those states that you feel like high on life or connected to God, like, they're meant to be spurts in your human experience. The majority of your human experience is not feeling high on life, not feeling connected to God. And I think for me, at least, like, I will say that I will pursue that in my life, and hopefully just like get more closer to God and closer to life and closer to connection, feeling alive, all of that. But I wanted to just first touch on the fact that inherently our existence is one of disconnect from that eternal feeling. This is my belief. Like, some people believe that when you die, you're going to go back into like the eternal oneness. It's like when you die, you're just going to go into heaven, which is like full peace. And the reality is that we don't experience full peace right now where we are at. So I just want to kind of acknowledge the fact that it is painful to be disconnected from our Creator that is fully love and peace. Think of your relationship with God as a relationship with a lover that you feel codependent with. Codependence is all about you would rather be in that person's energy than your own. So you kind of like throw away your life to be in that person's energy. And same with God. It's like sometimes when we get a taste of God and we get a taste of like what things could be like, we believe that they should be like that all the time. And for me, especially if you're in like the spiritual self-help community that kind of like seeks out the feeling of God all the time and connection with God and pursues that. Sometimes, like, I at least have felt that when I was just going about my life and I didn't feel God, then those things that I was doing in which I did not feel connected to God was wrong. And I don't think that that is necessarily like an automatic correlation, because we are inherently disconnected from God. So we will not feel God all the time, and it doesn't mean we're doing anything wrong. It just means that we need to learn how to cope on our own. I feel like more times than not, it's less about God wanting to connect with us, and it's more so about our longing to connect to God, our longing to feel in relationship with God. And that can manifest in so many different ways. Like, someone can feel God through relationships, and they long for relationships that will get them in touch with the feeling of God, that God exists. Or that could be sports for someone, or it could be art, or whatever it might be. It's like almost like our pursuit in life is to just want to feel in relationship with God. It's our longing to do that. It's not like he decides, okay, now I'll connect with her. Now I'll be there for her. It's like he's always there. You just might not feel it. But the whole idea of faith is believing in things that you can't see and that you don't know fully are always there. We're in this existence for a reason. Like, we're in this disconnection, this dance of disconnection and separation from God, from our true selves, and from like eternal love for a reason. And what I'm seeing is that in the disconnection is actually where we can learn deeper depths of our relationship with God and our relationship with life. We learn different sides of the coin rather than just feeling high off of life and just feeling love. There's a reason why we're here, and it might not be without pain. It will be with pain and confusion and all of that. Yeah, but I believe that, or I choose to believe that God is with us, even if we don't feel connected to him all the time. Which leads me into the second thing I want to talk about: confusion along the path of your life. Whether you seek God consciously or not, there's going to be confusion. There's going to be times when you don't know if you're doing like the right thing, or if you're walking with God, or however you want to call it, aligned, whatever. Sometimes we outsource our own capability to discern and make a decision for ourselves. We outsource it to God, or to this like wisdom that we can access. And I think that that actually paralyzes us in a way and brings us into a state of like control, because yes, God speaks to us. God speaks in a specific language to each of us, I believe. And yes, God, we want to hear, we want to listen, and we want to walk with God, however that looks or sounds to you. I do, at least. But I've actually seen in myself and in other people who walk this path such a paralysis in making decisions, and such like a heavy burden of, if I make this decision, is it right? Is it wrong? What will the outcome be? What will the punishment be? Like, all of this happening to like in like milliseconds, creating this like frozen state of being where you don't walk with lightness. You don't walk with freedom in your step. You're walking with fear and paralysis of indecision. If you're always trying to consult God and consult a deeper wisdom on every turn you take, literally, like if you're walking down the street, I've been there. You're looking for God in things where it's not like you won't find him. It's just that God doesn't want you to like throw away your like rational mind, your beautiful rational mind, your beautiful way of making decisions, your capability to make decisions, your capability to know yourself and to know what you want, what feels right for you. And it's not like you need to ask something outside of yourself. You can just do what feels true to you in the moment, or just do. There's a codependence that happens it's almost like we want God to make the decision for us, and we want God to lead our lives for us completely without taking responsibility to do it ourselves. And there's like no judgment in when I say that, because like I have experienced it and do experience it still. But I think it's just really interesting to talk about, because there is so much confusion that comes with walking the path and feeling like you need to make the right choice every step of the way. If you go down to the nitty-gritty of every single choice you make and wondering if it's going to be right or wrong, I don't know if that's beneficial for you. Me talking to me. So there's that. It's like unraveling that codependence and learning to lead your own life, but being in relationship with God and ultimately like letting go of control, because the decisions that you do make that are like seemingly insignificant, like should I eat here or should I eat there? Like, will that change the course of my life? Like, maybe. Maybe. The answer is maybe. But if you were to know that, you would. But you don't, because those little intricate things are in God's hands. Like, God does not want you to be paralyzed with these decisions. Like, if he wants something to happen, it'll happen. If he wants you to run into this person, you will. So that is some peace in the control and lack of trust and codependence and all of that. The last thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about in regards to codependence is this. So it kind of touches on everything we talked about with like throwing out the baby with the bathwater. You don't have to throw out the baby with the bathwater. And what I mean by that is you don't have to throw out your human existence and your life, your beautiful mind, your beautiful decision-making apparatuses, your wants, your desires for this life, your dreams. You don't need to throw that out in order to have like the utmost connection to God. Like, you don't need to renounce earthly possessions and like be a monk or be a priest or whatever to have the strongest connection with God possible for you. That might be in some people's paths, but for you, if it's not in your path, you don't need to do that to more strongly connect to God. Because I really believe that like your true longings and your true desires are like communications to you about what ways you really want to connect with God. You experience God through different ways that you experience life, and that's different for everyone. So like following that longing is like following the trail of a deeper connection with God. God speaks to each of us uniquely, and our longings, like our deep, deep longings and desires and yearnings to experience in this life are actually yearnings to connect with God more. Because in my belief, God is life. God is in the fabric of existence. God created all of this existence, and there is like a beautiful sovereign being consciousness connecting with us all the time, even if we can't feel it. That presence of God woven throughout life, that is there for us in the many different ways that we choose to experience life. The yearnings that we have, like the deep, oh my gosh, like I need to do this in my life. Like those things are really yearnings to connect with God, and aka to connect with life in the strongest way possible for us. Knowing this, like say I have a strong yearning to be a writer, I have a strong yearning to be a chef, or I have a strong yearning to patch up this relationship with my son or daughter or brother or sister, mom, grandparent, whatever. Or I have a strong yearning to have a child, whatever it is. I believe that those are ways that we connect with God, like very, very deeply. So if we are able to pursue that in our lives, those will be the moments that we can develop a stronger connection with God. And whatever that path is to get there is the path needed to more strongly connect with God. And knowing this is such a beautiful, beautiful thing, because it means that we don't have to cut off parts of who we are and cut off like the opportunity to really experience humanity and our human expression and our families and our friends and our lives to connect with God. It's actually the deeper that we go into those things that we're called to go deeper into is how we more deeply and beautifully connect with God. It makes me so happy and like so full of like vigor and like excitement to just experience life, knowing that by pursuing a deeper experience of life and of my desires and my longings is actually a pursuit of more deeply connecting with God. Yeah, it's that actually bridges the codependence, because you're not throwing out your life to connect with God. You're actually deepening into your life in order to have a deeper connection with God. That's actually how it works with relationships as well, is the more deeply you pursue your heart and pursue your desires and your longings and like the way that you want to express and create your life, the more capability and capacity and ability you have to like connect with another person on a real level and like have a genuine, real connection. So excited. Yeah. I hope that this helped and you guys found like any sort of yourself in this. I love talking about it and exploring it, and I can't wait to explore more soon.